Great relationship over the past few years due to our involvement in sponsorships with the industry throughout the country. Wet and Chandon is the perfect champagne to celebrate great achievements and life's special moments. Racing as a sport celebrates great achievement and winning. Therefore, no wonder the two make such perfect partners. With this said, I'd like to present to you the winning owner of the racehorse today, Mr. John Sudak.
Well done to the winning connections there of Shindig in race 2, and Jen, you'll be able to afford a drop of the Moet tonight, I think, because you tipped the winner and got the Quinella.
Yes, paid very well too, Peter, and look at that beautiful rug. That's one of the nicest rugs I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is very classy. Well, I think I might go home. I'm 2 for 2. I've got the perfect record, and I'm going for Mahogany to make it 3 out of 3.
Yes, well, it's hard to go past him, that's for sure, Peter. He is a freak racehorse, and I think he's going to win this race. Number 4, Paint. I thought it was a better effort from Paint. He's only had that run here at the Blue Diamond Stakes, in which he won in pretty good style. I think he might be on his way back. And number 2, Quick Flick, I've put him for 3rd.
So you've left El Mansour out?
I've left him out, yes. He's a high-quality 3-year-old, Peter, but I just think the others might be a little bit better.
Sure the sun hasn't got to you?
Not yet.
Mahogany from me, and I think El Mansour is the danger. It's going to be one of the highlights, Sandra. Race number 3, and that is the Emirates Plate, and that is coming up this afternoon at 1:25.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, one of the other... For more than 100 years, Oaks Day has become traditional and synonymous as a day of elegance, fun and fashion. As you can see, we are having a wonderful time here at Flemington. People are really enjoying this fabulous weather, picnics, glorious outfits, and of course meeting lots of interesting people. It is only fitting on this Oaks Day, this Ladies' Day, that we meet one of the best known trainers here at Flemington. Frances Houlihan has the family credentials to really make a name for herself.
For some crusty old timers in the sport of kings, the only link between women and racing was fashions on the field. But the times, as they say, are a-changing.
But Octagonal's not going to get him, and nothing like the Dana's won the Derby.
Gay Waterhouse is without doubt the highest profile female in Australian racing, but she's certainly not the only one.
Hey, don't do that. Don't be rough.
Boasting a famous racing name, Frances Houlihan is one of the ever-growing band of lady trainers.
You want to do Queenie first, and then you can, that's Kelly, you can do her after that. Just do a nice lap like you've been doing.
It's not that long ago that females in racing were something of an oddity, especially in the jockeys' ranks.
There was always this thing that women weren't strong enough and they couldn't hold horses, but they'd happily put a 35, 40 kilo boy on. They wouldn't put a 50 kilo girl in, and I could never see the sense in that. You're a sweet one. The men are in it, the jockeys, mainly because they're small, whereas the girls being small really doesn't matter. If they were small, they could do something else as well, but they've chosen to be in it because they love the animals, and I think that's reflected in their attitude in a lot of ways.
In fact, we may have Frances to thank for the fact that her father, Jim, has become one of training's most respected names.
I asked for a pony when I was 8, and he said, oh, we lived in Clayton and there was nowhere to keep a pony, and anyway, I kept at him, and anyway, he got me a pony, and from then on he sort of rekindled an interest that he had a bit too, I think. Come on, mate. Yeah, Alan says the kookaburras are lucky. You'll be lucky now, Jimmy.
Not everyone, though, has warmed to the fact that women are now an integral part of the industry. Frances discovered that one day here at Flemington.
I was sitting up in the trainer's stand, and I had a horse running, and I owned it and trained it, and this old fella come along, and he said to me, you can't sit there. I said, well, I can. He said, you're not allowed to sit up here. He thought I was sitting in the members' stand. He said, come on, you've got to get out. I said, well, you can try, but I said, you won't get me out. And everyone's saying, go, Fran, go, Fran.
It looks as though the children might follow Frances into racing. 13-year-old Patrick and Amy, who's 11, are already mad keen on horses. And by the sound of things, they won't be getting any discouragement from Mum.
I was a horse-mad kid, and I'm still a horse-mad kid, and I love horses, and I think it's just a wonderful thing. I mean, you get out in the morning and you look at these beautiful animals, and they're great to work with, and they're beautiful to look at, and yeah, it's great. You wouldn't do anything else.
There's it wonderful to see so many more women getting involved in racing and really establishing themselves? Well, Lynn Talbot's mission this week, on the members' lawn is to meet some of the most interesting people she can find. Now, I'm told she's found some old school friends who, of course, are interesting, but also, I understand you may be revealing some old mischievous tales, Lynn.
Indeed. I've known these two girls on my left here for a very long time, right, I should say. Vicar and Linda Bull. They have two of the most stirring and beautiful voices in the country. And on this side, we have Di Clark of Ellen Umber, who designed their gorgeous outfits. They look beautiful today.
Well, thank you. I think what's so nice about this year is that it's the year of the dress. And what's beautiful about Vicar and Linda in these dresses is that they're simple cuts in exquisite fabrics, allowing for a vibrant personality.
Very feminine too, I might say. Now, recently you have become a mum. How have you combined both work and motherhood?
Well, it's very hard, Lynn, but I've had Mum and Dad to help me. We've been right around the country, did a 5-week tour, and they looked after Muffy, and she just sort of comes along to the sound checks and listens to music and is fed on a diet of lots of food and lots of music, basically.
As you two were. I remember it well.
You were too.
Hey, I'm not going to sing for you today, though. I'll leave that up to you. Now, tell me, musically, where are you two headed? I mean, you've already made it on the world scene.
Well, hopefully if we could wear a dress like this every day, we'd be very comfortable. But Lynn, we are at the moment trying to concentrate on a gospel album, which will be out maybe middle of next year. But at the moment, Princess Taboo, our album, is doing very well here in Australia and overseas, so we're very happy. It's nice to have a day off.
Yeah. This is the first for a while, I believe, and you haven't been to the races much before.
I've never been. This is my first day.
Well, I hope you enjoy it, and have a few bets and win some money as well. And we wish you all the very best for next year and the future, both musically and with motherhood. Thanks, Sandra.
Thanks, Lynn. Lynn Talbot catching up with a few old friends and, of course, some of the stars of Australia's music scene. Tim Bailey, I understand, betting up a storm in the betting ring.
Right, well, where the action is and where the action was on Melbourne Cup Day for the biggest betting plunge the greatest horse race in Australia has ever seen. With me is Michael Iskander, leading Melbourne Rails bookmaker. Michael, you are still standing. That is a good sign, but that was one of the lowest days in your career.
Without a shadow of doubt, and I think the sooner we forget about Tuesday, the better, actually, Tim.
Australia's wealthiest punter got on the phone.
I don't know if it was the Kerry you're referring to. I'm not too sure, to be quite frank with you.
There was a ton of money for the horse, and you're still standing. What did it do to your confidence? I mean, mentally, how were you after the race?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you how I felt after the race on TV. However, we've got to fight, and we're here today. We'll be there on Saturday. We'll do it. We'll do it again.
Mahogany racing today. Are you going to pick that phone up if it rings just a few minutes before the race?
Well, Tim, as you suggested earlier, I might take it off the hook before the race.
A lot of the damage being done on the phone?
All the damage has been done on the phone. However, there was a lot of support for the favourite here as well. And the lead up to the Cup was quite good, to be quite frank with you. Cox Plate was exceptional. Derby Day was even better. And the Cup took care of just about everything we've done previously.
All right, Michael, well, you were a bookmaker, I'm a punter. I'd like to wish you all the best, but I won't. Michael Iskander, thanks very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. I have with me one of our leading lights, I think, on the celebrity speaking circuit and, of course, in-house training, Leonie Collins. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Now, the speaker circuit and professional training really is taking off these days, isn't it? And women are actually some of our best trainers.
Look, I believe that, and I think the reason for that is that women at last are truly believing in themselves, and that's a good tip for the 5th race, incidentally. They're truly believing in their skills and getting out there and doing it and kicking a few goals.
Now, one thing that sets you apart from many of the other speakers and trainers is that you try to bring in a little entertainment in your seminars. Tell us about that and why.
Well, I have a background in theatre as well as business, so I try to incorporate humour and laughter because I believe laughter is the key to it all. If you can laugh at yourself, you'll be successful. If you take yourself too seriously, believe you me, you won't get anywhere in life. If you take on board things personally, that will stop you doing anything you want to do in life.
Now, I I also understand you actually dress up and do take a little bit of a laugh at yourself. Tell us why you do that.
Well, I do that to break the ice. I have characters like Audrey Tawdry, who is very good at customer service, and I have Dame Nellie Melbourne that represents this city. I have Daggy Thatcher that talks about politics, and through the characters I'm able to get some really strong business messages through in a light-hearted manner. And the secret is just to get a few little tips across, a few little skills, the challenge of change as a racing driver, for example, and I relate that back to a racetrack and all the changing conditions of the road, that I believe that if you do something visually effective and with humour, people will take home the messages and remember the particular presentation.
Well, Leonie, we do wish you the best of luck with your business, and we know that you are finding more and more women coming to you as they break through those glass ceilings, so it's great to have you with us today. Another successful leading lady in Australia. Thanks for joining us, Leonie.
Thank you.
It's across to Peter and Jen in the mounting yard, and Peter, all eyes are on Mahogany, aren't they?
They are indeed, Sandra. Yes, this magnificent horse, he's won in excess of $3 million, and he's the people's favourite here, and he's the tote favourite and the bookmakers' favourite for race number 3, the Emirates Classic over 1,200 metres, Jennifer, and I think he's entitled to be too.
Well, he is, but I don't know about your eyes, because I've seen them glancing around the crowd here today, Peter, with all these lovely fashions and women here.
Where's your whistle? You've given me up there.
It's only race 3 too. Look, Mahogany looks very, very difficult to beat here. Drawn in barrier 1 with his regular rider on Greg Hall. He's a quality type of sprinter, and I do think he can win this.
He just needs to be freshened up, doesn't he? And he hasn't raced for around about 3 weeks. And that win at Caulfield was just devastating. Greg snagged him out of the barrier, took him to the outside of the track, and when he asked him for the effort at the top of the straight, he did what only champion horses can do.
That's right, and he beat a horse called Spartacus too, and he is a very good sprinter as well. So he's back in form, Mahogany. Well, he's never really been out of it. He's just very good.
And he loves the straight track. So there he is, the champ, number 1 Mahogany, $3.644 million already, and I think he'll be picking up 130,000 more today. Number 2, Quick Flick, the grey, striking grey ears too, Jen. Mark de Montfort rides.
Well, go back to his last run, Peter, and of course he beat Might and Power in the Shannon Quality.
Heard of that horse?
Yes, in the Group 3. Now this horse, I think he's quite underrated. He's got a bit of class about him. He's got plenty of speed. He can be up there. He always gives his best, and I'm sure he'll give a great start. I've left him there with an each-way chance.
Big step up in class for number 3, Rancho's Coup, to be ridden by Nashra Willer.
Yeah, it's a horse that's been racing up in Queensland, won his last start up at Caloundra, but I think it's a little bit tough for him here. The form there in Queensland was okay, but up against a few of these, just a little bit tough for him.
I know you fancy Paint a bit, number 4. Darren Beedman rides for Jim Mason. I just thought he was a little off the boil, but you think the signs are encouraging?
Yes, I thought his last run was a big improvement there at Caulfield, and I just thought he might be on the way back. As I mentioned, he's only had the 1 run at Flemington. That was a good win in the Blue Diamond Stakes here. He's on his way back, I think.
Number 5, Toledo, trained by Russell Cameron, ridden by Dwayne Dunn. Not a bad win and a fairly strong field at Caulfield.
Yes, coming in at the weights though, he does meet Paint 5 kilos worse off here, so that's definitely against Toledo, and I don't know that he could figure in the placings here.
I think if there is to be a danger to Mahogany, it's this fellow, number 6, El Mansour, this 3-year-old, absolutely thundered home at Moonee Valley. Don't like him that much, Jen?
Well, there was a breakneck speed there on that occasion, Peter. He got well back. Of course, he flew home. It really did suit him on that occasion. He has only got 51.5, and look, he's pretty classy. He's a good 3-year-old. I've just got the others in front of him.
What's your trifecta?
I'm going number 1, Mahogany, to win from number 4, Paint, and number 2, Quick Flick.
And for me, it's a dead set Quinella, Mahogany to beat El Mansour. Let's take a look at what tote punters have made of it in the last 15 minutes or so with Dan Malicki.
Mahogany at $2.10, 11 for Quick Flick, 48 Rancho's Coup, $5.70 for Paint, 26 Toledo, and $2.60 for El Mansour. Tim Gossage is in the betting ring, where Mahogany would be the favourite of plenty over the number of years he's been competing at this carnival. Goss, is he any different this year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Mahogany and El Mansour, it is a real betting jewel in the bookmakers' ring, Dan. Mahogany got out to black figure odds, now back into the red, now back out so you can get $1 for $1 maybe in the ring. Money for El Mansour, and there is money at odds for Quick Flick, about $11 on the tote, about 3/4 that in the ring.
Tim Gossage amongst the enormous crowd in the betting ring. There is the map, 1,200 metres, and of course the barrier's up against the outside. You would think that they would all come down the outside, but it might be interesting to see if one decides to split. It's Mahogany from all 4 of us. The champ is the favourite, and they're on their way to the gates now for race number 3. It's the Emirates Classic over 1,200 metres. Can Hoggy do it again? We'll find out after this break. testimony to the fact that the Melbourne sporting public is amongst the best in the world. Here it is. It's a working Thursday in Melbourne, and there must be 70,000 people here. Tim Gossage included amongst them, who we just saw in the shot there. Tim, take a pace backwards, will you? And they're going to the stalls for race 3, the Emirates Classic. Now, you can step back in front of the camera this time, Tim, and tell us what you've got.
Thanks, Peter. This is on cue this time. I'm sorry about that. El Mansour. Big money for El Mansour. Mahogany has got the drifts. It's pretty close to favouritism.
All right, well, there's some big news from the betting ring from Tim Gossage. El Mansour well supported. Roy Higgins is with me now. And does that surprise you that they've come for El Mansour?
No, not really. He's a very good horse. He's a good 3-year-old. He's not a big horse, but he's an excellent horse. Probably Kerry obviously hasn't had his last on Mahogany then, has he? If there's another horse drifting in the betting. But I put the old boy on top, Mahogany. He looks absolutely outstanding. Gee, the Freedman boys have done a wonderful job with this horse to keep presenting him just fresh like this. He just stood out. Naturally, the 3-year-old El Mansour, he's a lovely colt, this fellow. Whether he can match it with the big boy at Weight for Age is another thing, but it'll be a good race. Looking for an improved run from number 4, Paint. She looked well here today. And naturally, number 2, Quick Flick. He's a good galloper, this guy, and he does look well. I went 1, 6, 4 and 2.
The thoughts of Roy Higgins prior to the Emirates Classic. Let's get the thoughts of Larry Cassidy. He is the man piloting the 3-year-old El Mansour.
Larry, how do you think El Mansour will go?
I think he's got a very good chance, especially at the weight for age scale. Mahogany's certainly the horse to beat. He's a specialist 6-furlong straight horse. He's certainly going to be very hard to beat.
Where's El Mansour going to settle, do you think?
I don't think I'll be too far away. He got a long way back the other day, but it was only 1,000 metres and they were very fast horses in it. Not as much speed in it today. I think I'll probably be 3 lengths off the lead.
Yes, this could be one of the most exciting races of the carnival. Of course, it's going to be hard to top that 2-mile race that we had on Tuesday. The Melbourne Cup, one of the most dramatic finishes of all time. But I think this is going to be a pretty good clash here between Mahogany and El Mansour. Only a small field of 6, but a select one. I can tell you that there is a rather large cloud starting to roll across Flemington from the west, and it is quite dark as well. And I'm sure the boys will be able to show that to you. There it is on cue. So they are predicting the possibility of a late thunderstorm this afternoon. So it may very well be that we do get a drop of rain. But so far the day has been perfect. And that has brought, I'm sure, a record crowd in. Dan Malicki and Gary Willits, you can see them from your vantage point. This is the biggest Oaks Day crowd I've ever seen.
Oh, certainly, Pete. It is. It's certainly more, I think, outdone Derby Day to this stage. You're mentioning the black clouds. Who'll ever forget the day of the storm in the second last race about 5 years ago? And he blew us off the track. But what a wonderful sight. And not only around the racetrack, but these horses going to the gates as well.
Yeah, tremendous it is. And the crowd out here is great. They're just about all in. I think Paint's the last to go in.
They're all in. Paint's ready. Mahogany favourite from El Mansour. The old champ versus the new one, and they're underway now. Away they go. Now, El Mansour had jumped away fairly well. Paint got out quickly, and so too did the great Quick Flick. And Mahogany's going to settle last of the 6. Quick Flick and Paint together. In third spot, El Mansour. Toledo fired up a little bit. He's racing fourth and wanting to go a lot quicker. And a length and a half behind them, Rancho's Coup and Mahogany. Coming down to the 800 now. And it's a Quick Flick who's closest to the outside rail. Paint's about 6 horses in. They're the leaders from Toledo third. Fourth and up against the rail was El Mansour. Then Mahogany about 4 lengths off the lead, and Rancho's Coup ridden along. Coming onto the course proper with about 500 to go. And we have El Mansour getting up on the inside of Quick Flick and Paint, who's the furthest in. Mahogany 2 lengths away, and then Toledo down to the 400. And we have El Mansour, Paint, Quick Flick, and Mahogany starting to run on, and 2 lengths away Toledo. El Mansour the leader from Paint, Quick Flick, and Mahogany's after El Mansour, then Toledo. The leader El Mansour a length in front of Quick Flick. Mahogany trying to peg him back, and then Toledo, but El Mansour's got a break. He's a length and a half in front of Mahogany and Toledo, and El Mansour's won it by 2 lengths to Toledo. Third in Mahogany. Fourth home was Quick Flick, and then Paint, and last home Rancho's Coup.
Very good winner. I think it's a new record.
Winner is number 6, El Mansour, Larry Cassidy, from about the 400. He wasn't in much danger. He got away to about a 2-length break, and Mahogany couldn't pick him up.
No, he's a very good horse. Like, that's his 10th start now. 7 wins down. It speaks for itself. And the time went down, but the time they had up there was actually a new race record.
6-5-1 of the numbers, 6-5 and 1.
He had the race run a long way out. Here they are arrowed here from the Lincoln's Lightship. Paint sort of got in, I don't like them getting in on that ground there where he is. It's still pretty good, but you want to be on that outside. See Quick Flick leading. Al Mansour's going up on his outside now. And I noticed Larry Cassidy at this stage, he just had a quick look around to see where Mahogany was. Greg Hall started to get a bit anxious here. And the one that ran on very well was Toledo. He's quite a smart horse, Toledo, because he met these horses a lot worse at weights today.
Fired right up in the first half of the race too, Gary.
Oh, yes. Yes, that time's gone down, Dan, but I'm pretty sure when I looked, it was 1.6 something.
1.88 has gone up now. 1.88.
Oh, well, I've changed it again. But still, it's only a tick outside Gold Race Aces record.
Quick Flicks run 4th, and 5th in was Paint after sharing the lead in the early part. Mahogany, he's usually a horse that needs to be colder and to have a, you know, cluttered up behind, but in the smaller field, there wasn't that today, was there?
No, and he didn't get that chance to rest like he normally does because Al Mansour put that pressure on him, and Toledo's the one that's got home very well.
Well, Larry Cassidy is the sibling of Jim, the brother of Jim Cassidy, and Larry has taken out the Group 2 Emirates Classic, John Letts.
Larry, you've had 2 rides on him now for 2 wins. He's very impressive, this horse, isn't he?
He sure is. He's not very big, but he's full of heart, he is, and it was just a great win.
I heard you were talking before the race. You said you wouldn't get back as far as you did the other day. He travelled good all the way?
He did. He jumped out onto the bit, and he just travelled beautiful, just back behind Quick Flick, and you know, Quick Flick always sort of stayed off the fence, so there's always a run there for me.
How far can he go, Larry?
Well, I actually thought the 1,000 the other day was too short for him. You know, and he sort of seems to me that he might be a good 1,400 or miler horse.
You've stopped the clock at 1.18, which is excellent, isn't it?
He can certainly run, can't he?
He can, mate, and good luck with the rest of the carnival.
Thank you.
John Letts out there with Larry Cassidy, the winning jockey. Let's talk to the winning trainer now, and Bruce McLaughlin. He is pretty smart.
Yes, he's. You can't do any more than he's done. He just goes from step to step, and I think he's got plenty of wins left in him yet. He's a very, very promising horse.
Were you confident that you could beat Mahogany?
Well, Mahogany's a great horse, and, you know, our horse has gone on, and I thought he beat Spartacus easier than Mahogany actually did, but I never underestimate Mahogany because he's such a wonderful old horse.
Will you bring him back here in the autumn for a race like the Newmarket, Bruce?
Oh, he's staying here. I'll give him a fortnight off, and I'll get him ready for the probably the Newmarket, and he'll run in the William Reid.
He's going to give us a lot to look forward to early in the next year.
Yes, yeah, well, he's settled in here well, and I think he likes the place.
I think you do too. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Bruce McLaughlin, the winning trainer. He is a very smart galloper. Al Mansour, second placing in the race, going to number 5 Toledo running on, and Mahogany battling on for third, but it was obvious when he was under pressure at about the 600-metre mark when Greg Hall went for the stick that he was going to struggle. But we might have seen a rising star of the future. 6.5 and 1. 1.8.8 is very smart time. Larry Cassidy brings Al Mansour back to scale as we take a break from the third day of the carnival at fabulous Flemington. Some excitement in the grandstand there during the Emirates Classic, and the connections of Al Mansour were the ones celebrating after the race because they have taken out the $130,000 in prize money, and they've also taken out the reputation of one of the rising sprinters of the land. He is particularly smart. Larry Cassidy, the winning jockey, Toledo second, Mahogany third. And as the riders get on the scales, I was a bit worried, Jen, when Greg Hall went for Mahogany at about the 600.
Yes, I must admit, he didn't look to be travelling as well as he normally does in his races. And that horse is quite outstanding, isn't he, a 3-year-old?
He is very good. Correct weight is there. Weight right for the number 6, 5 and 1. Dan Malicki has the toast.
And Al Mansour returns $2.60 and $1.40. Number 5 Toledo, $7.10 for the place and no third dividend for Mahogany. Quinella, $41.60. The trifecta, $67.40. And the running double returns $10.20. 6, 5 and 1 on race number 3.
And the presentations are about to be made. There is that particularly smart 3-year-old with another nice rug that he will no doubt wear with pride. The connections will be throwing that on and say, well, that was the day we beat Mahogany at Flemington on Oaks Day. And I think they're going to have a few more rugs to collect along the way because he is a very, very smart sprinter indeed. Not quite right for the presentation. The next event is race 4, the Maya Plate. 2:05 is the starting time, and we have no scratchings in a field of 15, and it is an unusual race in that definitely a grey will win it, and a grey will run second and third because they're all greys in race 4. Here's Rob Gaylard now with the presentation after the third.
Thank you, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, presentations for the Emirates Classic, and if you're ever looking for a name and bet, I think there was one here today. Of course, the winner in Arabic means the winner, El Mansour. Mr. Andrew Ramsden is to represent the VRC here at the presentation, but to make our presentation, we welcome here to Walter Flemington over this particular Cup Carnival, His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Sayed Al Maktoum.
Ladies and gentlemen, we at Emirates Airline are very pleased to be sponsoring the Emirates Classic for the first time and being part of the wonderful Melbourne Cup week. I would like to thank the Victoria Racing Club for the excellent support and superb organization of the races. My heartiest congratulations to the winner of Mr. Joe Richard. Thank you.
Yes, there he is, His Highness the Sheikh, and he's witnessed a pretty impressive effort by that fellow. There he is, Al Mansour running away, and what beautiful trophies they are, very much different, and that scabbard will take pride of place on the mantelpiece of the connections of that horse. Well, as I said, Jen, race 4, it's going to be won by the grey. You're going for the grey in this?
I have to, don't I, Peter? I like number 8 here. He's Regal. This horse, if you go back 4 starts ago, he was first up. It was a terrific win at Sandown. He beat a pretty good field, and he's come up at fairly nice odds here. I thought he could win from number 3, Just Nelson. Also desperately unlucky last year. He had a go and just finished second. I thought he'd go very well in this race. And number 6, a well-named horse called Divorced.
There'll be a few bagging that.
Yes, but he's fresh also, and also races well fresh.
So there's the second page. I've gone for Just Nelson. I like the way he won at Sandown. I think he needs a smother in the run, Jen. If he's allowed one sprint, I think he can sprint over the top of them.
He'll definitely be there, Peter. He's a very honest performer.
So Just Nelson for me, and for Jennifer, it's number 8, He's Regal. Race 4, the Maya Plate, and that's due at 2:05. Let's see, I think that would have been a bad result for the bookmakers down there, Timothy.
Absolutely. They came very late for El Mansour, and Mahogany got the drifts, and there was a lot of cheering in the ring, so it was a bad race for the bookmakers. This is a little bit more open, though, a lot more chances. The 1, the 3 and the 8, simple as that. Just Nelson and He's Regal, all around each way odds. It's a hard one to find the winner.
Righto, Tim, we'll check in with you just prior to the running of the race. There's that grey cloud which has come over, so it's cooled down somewhat, Sandra, but it's still a beautiful day and a huge crowd here for Oaks Day 97.
Yes, Pete, it hasn't cooled down too much, though. It's still feeling a lovely temperature, a little warm here in the Marquee, so we are enjoying this fine weather. The Melbourne Cup Carnival, of course, brings thousands of viewers, I should say visitors, to Victoria. More than 100,000 are expected throughout Cup Week. Our crew, of course, are staying at the terrific Hotel Sofitel, and the good people there have looked after us very well indeed. The Sofitel is in the heart of the city, quite comfortable and spacious accommodation with the finest food in the award-winning restaurant Le Restaurant. For the week that many of us are spending here in Melbourne, the Hotel Sofitel really is our home away from home. Thank you so much for a wonderful week. Now the big race is just 1 away, so the countdown to the Crown Oaks. There you have it, the clock. It's exactly 1 hour, 6 minutes and 17 seconds away. Stay on 10, plenty more coming up right after the break.